Hi, I'm Amy Baez, pediatric occupational therapist and founder of Playapy, here to provide you with some playful solutions and powerful results. Today, I'm doing a special interview with a speech language pathologist. She is Kelli Meyer, and she is the face and voice of Speedy Speech, a popular YouTube channel that provides speech therapy tips. She is here coming to us from New Jersey, my home state, and I'm excited to meet her and introduce her to all of you. So keep on watching to learn more. Hi, Kelli.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. So it's my first time meeting you and my audience as well. Can you tell us a little about where you're at so just we have a little bit of perspective?
Sure. Okay. So my name's Kelli, and I'm a speech language pathologist. And right now, my family and I just recently moved to the shores of New Jersey, the Asbury Park area. And so I'm actually working at a clinic in Brick, New Jersey, and it's called Professional Therapy Associates, and it's a collaborative clinic. And we also have a day program here for children with autism, and kids are here all day, rotating through all the different therapies. We have BCBAs, RBTs, techs. We also have occupational therapists and physical therapists, and obviously speech therapists. So it's a great place to work, and I love being collaborative and bouncing ideas off of everyone. So it's been a really nice transition from Florida.
Wow, wonderful. I'm a little jealous. I'm actually from New Jersey, but I think that it's really interesting to be able to work with a bunch of different people. I work mostly exclusively by myself, so I'm always like, I wish I could talk to somebody about this.
I couldn't agree more. Yes.
So can you share just briefly what a speech language pathologist is for anyone who may not understand or be familiar with it?
Sure. So, speech language pathologist in general is basically like a big giant umbrella term. And so, as far as what I do day to day, I really focus on the language aspect of it, not so much the speech articulation. I do have some kids who get speech articulation therapy working on speech sounds and phonological processes, which are just patterns of speech errors. And so, but most of my kids have some sort of social or pragmatic delay. And so a lot of times we're working on social skills, turn taking, attending to tasks, shifting and sharing joint attention, all of those pre-linguistic skills that we know are super important in development of communication in general, and then also language development. So a lot of my kiddos that I work with don't have words yet, and so we're really working on amping up their receptive language skills, words that they understand, and then as well as their expressive language skills, words that they can actually verbally express.
Awesome. So I learned about you through your YouTube channel. You are Speedy Speech. So tell me, I know you started this during the start of the pandemic, from what I understand. What is something that you feel like you've learned the most about from that experience?
I definitely started during COVID whenever I worked early intervention in Florida, home health, where I'd go from home to home, seeing little ones. And then when we weren't able to go into the homes anymore, the parents of those kids were like, what are we going to do? Like, we need you, we need speech. And I really wanted to help. So I did start that way by just filming some videos for those parents. But then I took like a wider scope and I joined a couple of those Facebook groups and outreach groups that are like, parents of children with speech and language delay or children with autism. And I just noticed that there's like such an overwhelming need for parents and they just need information. They don't know what to do. They're with their child a lot and they don't know how to help. And a lot of times, people are on a waiting list for speech and language therapy and occupational therapy, all the therapies, there's always a long waiting list. They can't get into the doctor, whatever it is. And these are such simple things that I knew I could share with them that would really change their communication at home, their opportunities to learn, their opportunities to engage. And so it was just really like heavy on my heart to share with parents that they could do things at home to help. And so I'm happy that I'm kind of like a resource for parents.
Awesome. Yes. I had a channel much earlier than the pandemic, but I really had been on and off, and I decided to like revamp my channel, partly from seeing a lot of other therapists doing the same. And I was like, okay, maybe this is definitely needed. And I ended up needing it a lot myself. It was like helping myself prepare for teletherapy sessions. So I get it. Yeah.
So true. And
So,
then you're jogging your brain all the time about, or I'm in a session, I'm like, this is a great video. And I'm like jotting it down on notes. I saw you have a lot of videos, 120, 150. And so that's a lot of different topics. So I love that,
yeah.
people could binge watch your channel and really learn a lot of information. So that's awesome. And I also love that you're play-based. So very similar here.
Yes, yes, yes. That was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you. I was wondering if there's a specific type of way that you like to play with kids. Is there anything in particular that you like to do related to language skills?
Oh my goodness, this is like my favorite topic. So hope you have all day.
Go for it.
So I absolutely love like gross, fine motor play, sensory integration. I think that those things are so important because whenever we're looking at a child, a lot of times their brain is needing that sensory input, and so a child can't concentrate because they're just craving some of that deep pressure or movement or input. And so I really try to break out my tunnel. I freeze things in ice trays so that it's like fine motor. We're picking stuff up, we're touching, we're being exposed to different textures and consistencies. I think that is one of the most important things, and to not overlook the simple things like using music or using a child's interest. So like a
Mhm.
lot of times my first session is airplane baby. I put the child on my feet and we go up, 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 wee, and I'm doing all types of things to get them to imitate, to attend to me, to shift and share joint attention, to imitate those gestures, to fill in a verbal routine like ready, set. And it gives them time to process that information so that they can come up with the word that goes there, especially if it's something that they've heard. And I notice that whenever I get their little bodies going, or I like spark their interest in something that they're interested in, or in a sensory bin, or if they're touching different things, it's really awakening all their senses. And it seems that more language pours out during these sessions whenever I'm up and jumping up and down and we're doing, hokey pokey, and we turn ourselves around and we
Mhm.
do ring around the rosy and we all fall. And then the child looks at me and I'm looking at them, and then we all say down, and we're following directions. It's just a variety of skills that can be incorporated in gross motor and fine motor, and also sensory integration. So I definitely love, that's always my go-to, is get up, get moving, and let's see what kind of skills come out.
That's great. I mean, I really feel like a lot of parents sometimes struggle because they'll see that we're doing maybe this, it looks like we're doing the same thing. But I always tell them like our purpose might be different, or like our
Yes.
intended goals are different, but it may look very similar, especially for OT, because we look a little bit like PT and then we look a little bit like speech.
Right,
But
right.
really, we should all be doing a lot of the same thing because it all should be revolved around play. So that was one of the things that I noticed a lot about your channel that really stuck out to me, and why I felt like in particular that I wanted to talk to you. So another thing that I noticed that you talk about on your channel a lot is behavior and how it's used for communication. And I feel like that's another area where there's overlap for different providers, because there's behavior in everything, right? But I
Right.
feel like as a therapist, that wasn't really addressed so much for me. It's in school. I don't know how it is for speech, but I'm wondering if there's something particular that you learned along the way.
Oh my gosh, Amy. Yes. Okay. This is exactly the first thing that I learned, or I was trying to do early intervention in Florida. And I remember I had a behavioral therapist come in with me, and I said, please go to all my sessions with me. So she went house to house with me. I said, see, I can't get anything done. Like, my speech and language techniques are not working. And the behavioral therapist told me, you're not going to get anything done until you handle behaviors, until you're able to
Mhm.
address, and all child behaviors have a function. And so she was like, number one, we have to figure out why they're doing this, and then we can give
Mhm.
them an appropriate response. And so definitely that was something that I learned immediately, was to incorporate that into my session. So I do use a lot of like intrinsic motivation, like I talked about with doing child-led play activities. But at some point, I definitely use behavioral approaches. I'll do what they call sabotaging by putting things up. And it really does increase a child's communication opportunities. So if you think about a child who's at daycare all day, right? And there's always lunch laid out, there's snacks laid out, all the toys are out. They're really never having to use communication skills by asking for anything because everything is kind of done for them. And we do this naturally as parents. I'm a parent, so I did it too. It goes against our parent instincts to not anticipate a child's needs whenever they're hungry or thirsty or they want something. You just get it automatically. You just get up when they're pulling their hand, whenever they're pulling your hand. You just give them a snack even before they say that they're hungry. But so it really had me take a step back and think, wow, what could I do to kind of, I always say, like, in the nicest way possible, kind of wreck their world a little bit. Like, let's see what they can really do, like kind of motivate them. Because if a child's not motivated, they're not going to do anything. And so a lot of times that is my goal by handling a behavior, is to motivate them and teach them an appropriate behavior to put in that place. So we replace, inappropriate behavior of jumping on the couch with appropriate behavior of jumping on a trampoline. So we're not ever saying no, we're just saying, here's an appropriate way to do things. Here's an appropriate way to ask for a cookie, instead of laying on the floor and kicking and screaming, right? So I'm just there to help kind of like make their life easier, but usually there's always a hump of, we're going to see more behaviors before we get better.
Right. I feel like I never use the word sabotage. I kind of feel like I do that, where I'll play with them and I make it just, I know what they want to do. And I'll just go a little bit over here just to see how they're going to react. Right. And I could see the struggle with the parent, but they want to do it this way. I'm like, yes, but if we go over here,
right.
How are they going to handle that situation? Because the kid in the class is going to go over there, right?
Yes.
So, and that's the difficulty they have. So you're kind of touching on the idea of modeling, which you also talk about on your channel. Can you explain what modeling is?
Yes. Okay. So I usually give this example. This is one that's common. So a lot of children, they'll pull mom, right? They want mom to get up and go into the kitchen. But a lot of times we see children just pulling, not looking. So there's really no communication happening. They're just pulling, leading by the hand. So my first thing is to always, I always tell mom, like, don't get up, don't jump up. So I want to see what they're going to do. And eventually, a lot of times they do turn around and look, like, hey, why didn't you get up, is what they're thinking. And so then we're going to model those words that we want for them to say. So I would say, mama up, or Kelly up, or let's go, whatever it is that I am targeting for that child, or just doing a quick little sign go if we're at, imitation level of gestures or signs. And so modeling is so important, because instead of saying, no, stop jumping on the couch, I want to model or show them what is appropriate to do, or model and tell them the words that I want them to say. And a lot of times kids just pick up on these words naturally. So a secret that I have is I never say the word say. So in my videos, I'm not like, say car, say milk, but if I'm playing with bubbles and I'm like, oh, bubbles, and I'm drawing attention to the word and I'm making it sound like the most fun thing in the world, I'm modeling that fun word. Kids will just automatically imitate that instead of it being a command, right? And so modeling is probably the number one thing. Like, talk to your child like you want them to be talking to you, instead of talking in super long sentences. So model simple language for them. Yeah,
I feel like parents often struggle with that. It's kind of like the idea that you have to be okay with being silly, because, that's how really you get their attention.
Yes.
And,
right.
And it's like they have, sometimes, not all parents, some of them are obviously really cool with that.
Right.
But I feel like sometimes parents have a struggle with that being silly part, or over exaggerating, and how that kind of helps them to like get that child engaged and get their full attention.
Absolutely. And attention's half the battle, right? Because if they're not paying attention to you, then like we can't teach them anything. Actually, that was one of the first things that a parent told me the first session that I had working early intervention in home. The mom said, wow, I never realized how quiet I am. Like during the day, I go about my business, I do my dishes, I'm listening to a podcast, and I didn't realize you're like jumping around and you're being very loud. And like my child is like really paying attention to you because it's different. Right. And so I really encouraged her to like, do something different to get their attention. And then actually she started singing funny songs, and then we were attending, and then we're able to work on all those other skills.
Yeah, that actually goes into another question I was going to ask, was the importance of attention skills. And if you have a tip in particular about working on eye contact, because that's one of the things that parents start to notice quickly with their child if they're struggling with eye contact.
Definitely. So, so again, number one would be sabotage. So don't just jump up, wait until they're looking. Number two, proximity. So a lot of times I get, or like a natural gaze. So a proximity and natural gaze opportunity that I learned during floor time play is if you swing a child, that's where I get a lot of, and also it's again, sensory seeking, it's calming for our sensory seekers. And so I'm swinging them and I'm saying 1, 2, and then I'll wait until they look at me like go, and in my mind, the eye contact is that child saying go. And I do take that as a response. I'm like, good looking, go, or 3, whatever it is. So definitely the swinging, the proximity, closeness there, putting a child up on my feet. That's always, I love putting them up on the feet because the eyes are going to fall naturally to you. And then I'm drawing attention to my face. I'm being expressive, I'm making funny faces, funny sounds, raspberries, drawing more attention, trying to hold their gaze and their attention. Also getting down on the floor, eye level with them during like Ring Around the Rosie, try to be as small as you can so that you're, usually we're, a child's not going to naturally look way up at you. So really just getting down to their level. And then my number one thing that a lot of parents or other, professionals or other therapists like might not think of is, let's say like, this is Johnny's favorite car or treat, right? This little pen, this is Johnny. Right? He's always just looking, very object focused. That is how, little ones are. And so I pull it right next to my eyes and I say, look, oh, good looking. And then I give one piece of the puzzle or one chip or one piece of whatever it is that we're working on together. And that way I'm holding all the pieces that Johnny wants. And he's kind of having to include me and give me that eye contact. And every time he does, I give him something that he wants as a positive reinforcement.
Yeah, that inclusion is so important, especially with kids who may be on the spectrum where it's like they're playing, but not necessarily with you.
Absolutely.
And you're trying to get them to play with you.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's part of that struggle. So I know you also, you mentioned that you don't do it so much at the clinic as much, but I know in your videos, you focus a bit on articulation. If there's like one tip that you could give, maybe like a preschooler age when it's a little more apparent that they're a little bit more delayed than the other kids, what would that tip be?
Okay, so my number one tip is definitely going to be check out speech sound norms and the development of speech sounds. So a lot of times I get emails from parents or comments from parents of, they're like, oh my gosh, my child is having a hard time with their R or their TH sound and they're 2.5, they're 3. And so I am always like, that is the last sound, age 7 is whenever we would start working on that sound really for the mastery level. So really, if you are knowledgeable, if you can, and you can look it up, Golden and Fristow test of articulation, speech sound norms. I have one on my website at SpeedySLP.com. That's completely free for parents to download. And you can see that M, P, and B are the first bilabial sounds. They're all in the front of the mouth. And those are the first to develop. So I would start there, right? If your child has all types of different errors, we're always going to start vowels first. Like if it's a puppy, then if a child said p, you might not know what they're saying, but if they're pointing and they're saying uh-e, then you might know that they're saying puppy. So vowels are definitely most important, followed by MPB, and then all those sounds on the front of the mouth, like T, D, and lots of fun sounds. So, but definitely just going in order, and then those will be the easiest sounds for the child to develop, and then they'll be motivated to try more difficult sounds because they've been successful working on sounds that were developmentally appropriate for them.
Nice. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Yes, great question.
I'm having flashbacks to when I was a kid. I used to have a really hard time saying specific.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I would always say Pacific.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's just like trauma, childhood trauma from that. Anyway, right. Okay. So, all right, wonderful. So I just wanted to ask you some quick fun questions, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
So I love to ask these just quick answer questions. So number one, what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, dessert.
Any particular kind?
It's funny, my husband likes like fruit flavored things. I'm always like, fruit is not dessert, like chocolate is dessert, you know? So that's definitely, I love baking. I love chocolate. I love all desserts. And that is definitely something that I love indulging in. So I try to be good during the week, but definitely that's my guilty pleasure.
Awesome. Your dream vacation.
Ooh, dream vacation. Would love to go to the Greek Isles. I think that that would be a great spot.
Me too.
Yes, yes. Is that yours too?
I've been to Greece, and when I tried to go, all the Isle boats were like sold out. So I didn't get to go, and I was like, oh, it was so close.
Right, we're so close.
Like, I'm in Athens. I'm so close.
Oh, so
Anyway.
maybe we'll go sometime.
Awesome. So do you have any hidden talents?
Oh, hidden talents. I'm not sure if I have any hidden talents. I really like very like lame humor, you would say, like very corny jokes. And so a lot of times I just like come up with puns off the top of my head.
That's talent.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think so. If somebody asked me to tell a joke, I would just be stumped.
Yes. Right. I'm also strangely good at like throwing a football. Like it's just really strange. Like I've beaten several grown men in
Nice.
like football throwing competition. So I guess that's a weird talent that I have.
Okay. Awesome. Do you have a favorite toy or game?
Yes, I do have my favorite toys. So I'm really into toys that don't do a lot of things, right? Because we want the child to be creative and develop those skills. So I love a tunnel. That's probably my favorite toy is a tunnel. There's also this little chair called a Billabo seat. And so a child gets in it. It literally just looks like a cup that's like, you know, deformed really is what it looks like, but it fits a child in it. And I like to like, the child will stand in and be like, whoa, whoa. And I'll spin them and sometimes I'll dump them out into a beanbag. So I really love gross motor toys or little mini objects from Speech Tree Co. I have loved all of those. Rachel has sent me a lot of her toys. So I love little mini objects because I can use those with anything like describing WH questions. Kids love going to get them. I had them crawl through the tunnel, get one, crawl back through, put it in something. Yeah, so those would probably be my top 3 favorite toys.
I feel like you're an OT at heart.
Yes, I am. I always pop into my OT's room. I'm like, Dana, what are you doing? Can I watch? Like,
okay, last one. If you could have a desired superpower, what would it be?
Okay, I would like to not fly, but like teleport into where it is I'm supposed to be at that time, because I am always late, literally always late to everywhere. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm always late. So I would love to be able to snap my fingers and teleport to where it is I'm supposed to be.
I'd like that, but I just don't want the jet lag. I just want to like be there.
Yes.
Like,
right. Exactly.
that would be
Skip
awesome.
the travel. Yes.
Well, I really appreciate you talking to me today. I want to know, just before we go, like, where can we learn more about you? How can we follow your journey?
Sure. So I actually have a partner. I know Speedy Speech, everyone just sees me, but actually the artist behind all of my products and all my resources. We work collaboratively together.
Oh,
my
nice.
best friend. Yes, Jessica.
I need one of those.
Yes, right. So I'm like, oh, I really need this, but she's kind of the person that's able to put it together for me. She sees my vision. She was like, I know what you want. And so my friend Jessica Sedgley, she's in Nashville, Tennessee. She's also a speech therapist, and so we work a lot on Teachers Pay Teachers on our store, as well as at SpeedySLP.com. And then I have a brand new announcement that I recently bought SpeedySpeech.com. So we're going to be changing to SpeedySpeech.com, which I'm pumped about. And it will definitely be easier for people to find me. So that's where you can find all my videos, resources, downloadables. Almost all of my information is free for parents. So or caregivers or other therapists. I feel like it's just a good opportunity to say, these are things that could make your life better for your kids.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's so great. So yay, I got the exclusive.
Yes. Well, I hope we get to talk another time.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love that.
Yes,
So
I loved all of your, I peeked through your videos and you had one on how to teach a preschooler Uno, which I thought was awesome. You had one for Olympic Games. So I love all the play based. I think that that is where the magic is at. So I totally agree. And I'm definitely going to share your
thank you.
videos with all my clients.
Thank you so much. Well,
Yes.
I hope that they subscribe, anyone on here, so that they can get some additional tips, because especially because a lot of the children that we see, usually require more than one therapy, and it can't hurt to kind of learn from someone else at any point in time. So I'm glad
Absolutely.
that we had this opportunity to talk, and we
Yes.
hope to do it again.
Yes. Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate you having me.
No problem. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Did you like this video? I hope that you did. If you did, I want you to leave a comment down below, like this video, or subscribe to this channel. You can also head over to playapy.com, where you can learn more and sign up for the monthly newsletter. You can also check out the award-winning PALS handwriting program. Until the next video, I hope you have a playful day.